Hello, dear friends of pleasure. Premature ejaculation and erectile dysfunction affect far more men than you are probably aware of. But the good news is that there are increasingly more men who have the courage to seek help in order to free themselves from this hamster wheel and who can now live a fulfilling sexuality. Erectile dysfunction is no longer a sealed fate, and many of the causes leading to it are now truly reversible and changeable. Therefore, it is in your hands. My name is Antje. I am your sex sense coach, and I help you with desire and frustration in your love life. A common problem that many men face is this constant carousel of thoughts regarding their erection while they are having sex. And this behavior is often referred to as control thinking. So the control of thoughts regarding the best piece, and in doing so, the attention keeps returning to your penis to check whether it is still erect and maintaining the desired position. The problem is that this control thinking is absolute poison for the erection and logically leads to it disappearing sooner or later. As some of you may know, I worked for several years as a nurse in urology. And of course, we have also worked with some men with presumed erectile dysfunction, that is, with erection problems, and have treated them. And to determine whether the erectile dysfunction was of a physical or psychological nature, the men were then given an injection in the penis, and it was observed whether the penis became erect or not. And what should I say? In most cases, it just wasn't a physical problem. And this has, of course, totally confused many men, and they suddenly had to rethink their entire symptomatology. What I mean to say is that the penis has functioned physically, but not under the pressure that one has built up in their mind. And indeed, this constant control thinking reinforces the issue. The pressure, the expectations, the stress ultimately lead to a decline in the erection. To get rid of this thought pattern and have relaxed sex, you simply need to learn not to base your self-worth on your erection. You should acknowledge that you are good regardless of your erection and capable of sexually satisfying your partner. This thought should become a truly integral part of your belief. If you don't constantly think about your erection and just let go, meaning release the pressure, the erection can come back in a relaxed manner. And when you achieve that, it often leads to the erection actually functioning better, as it no longer has to work under pressure. And that's why I want you to understand correctly that erectile dysfunction is often connected to your way of thinking. And today I would like to give you a few tips in my video on how you can approach improving your situation, how you can tackle your problem step by step so that you can once again enjoy a fulfilling sexual relationship. Tip number 1, train your PC muscles. The PC muscles in the pubic coccygeal area are among the muscles that surround the female and male genital organs in the pelvic floor. And the pelvic floor muscles hold the bladder and the sphincter together, relieves them. This not only helps with erectile dysfunction, but also with control and endurance in bed. And just like in the gym where muscles are built, you can also train your pelvic floor muscles. You can do this anytime and discreetly by tightening and relaxing your pelvic floor. And you can do the training anytime and anywhere. And you may not feel it immediately, but between 8 and 12 weeks, you will notice results, and your partner will not overlook it either. She will definitely perceive the change. In 2001, I have attached a small exercise under the video that you can feel free to try out. How do you find this PC muscle now? So, when you need to go to the bathroom to pee again, you interrupt the stream. Of course, you shouldn't do this regularly, but it's just to know where this muscle is. And that muscle, which also constricts the stream, is the PC muscle. So you can now train and tense this muscle now that you know where it is. And it is important that you really do this exercise regularly, once a day or even several times. But what's important is that you do it really regularly. Of course, pelvic floor muscle training is also very beneficial as a preventive measure, especially if you have a sedentary position in the office and a lot of work, because this often leads to the pelvic floor sagging and consequently weakens your pelvic floor muscle. And you can simply sit up a bit straighter. On one hand, by squeezing your buttocks together, and on the other hand, you sit up straighter, which is good for your back, good for your stomach, and also good for your butt. If you do this regularly, you also have an indirect workout for your back, your abdomen, your buttocks, and your pelvic floor muscles. So it can't get any better. Or to strength training, another exercise would be to simply place a light cloth on yourself and then try to hold the penis in that position or gently push it upwards. And if you have naturally built up a certain strength over time, you can also place a heavier towel on top. Thus, you also strengthen the PC muscle. And you can do this exercise for up to 15 minutes or longer. It would, of course, be advisable if no one is watching you and if children, neighbors, and everyone else are out of the house, so that you can really do this in peace, without stress and without pressure. Tip number 3, stretching. The penis consists of 3 erectile bodies: connective tissue, blood vessels, and ligaments, and these can sometimes be quite compressed due to masturbation. As with any other stretching, you usually start by warming up, which is generally meant to stimulate circulation. The same applies to your penis. So you start by gently squeezing the penis and then making circular movements, rocking it forward, backward, left, and right. Do this a few times, and then you begin to slowly, and I emphasize slowly, make slightly rotating pulling movements directed forward, turning it once to the left and then to the right while moving forward. You do this 4 to 8 times and can also do it regularly. And perhaps a certain blockage can also be resolved, which might help you a bit further. Tip number 4, the penis pump. Maybe you have already tried a lot, but perhaps it is exactly what you have not tried yet. The penis pump not only has the advantage of increasing blood flow and stimulating your connective tissue a bit more, but it can also lead to an increase in size and girth. This means that if you use this penis pump regularly, about daily, for approximately 30 days, it may result in a length increase of 0.25 centimeters and a circumference increase of 0.5 cm. I find that quite remarkable. Of course, success in this regard is also finite, because otherwise it would simply be too brilliant. Yes, otherwise everyone would have this. So just give it a try, and I hope you find the success that works for you. However, when using the penis pump, start very, very slowly and carefully, and do not set the highest vacuum level. Depending on the issues you have, if you haven't clarified this with a urologist, vascular problems can naturally lead to bleeding. I don't want to scare you too much, but I just want to exercise a certain caution so that you don't hurt yourself even more. Another option would be to consider whether you should perhaps use a penis ring. And you can practically place this penis ring around the shaft of the penis, so right here at the bottom. Alternatively, there are also penis rings that can be placed directly around the testicles. And because the blood vessels are compressed, you also have a much longer erection here. And as mentioned, please clarify this again with the urologist to ensure there are no injuries. It is generally said that penis rings should be left on for 20 to a maximum of 40 minutes, as otherwise the penis can take on a rather unpleasant color, and injuries may occur. Furthermore, I also advise you to use elastic, that is, rubber penis rings, because with the rigid penis rings, there is already some risk that they may not fit properly, be too small, and yes, what do you do if the penis ring gets stuck and your thing is about to die? Well, no one wants that, so please just start with the elastic band and the elastic penis ring to be on the safe side. Tip number 5, abstinence. If you masturbate every day, you are already so neurally trained that you can reach orgasm in no time. But if you now simply try to reduce your desire to once or twice a week, the following happens. On one hand, you will become aroused more quickly, and on the other hand, your erection will also last longer. If you also do the other mentioned exercises, an increasing arousal can be observed. All of this can happen because you do not apply the stimulation to your penis daily. So just limit it to once or twice a week and see what happens. Tip number 6, porn consumption. Porn can be quite cool and can also provide some stimulation and impulses, making things a bit more exciting. But if you seek your arousal solely through porn every time, because during masturbation it is usually the case that you reach your climax in a very short time, then your brain is so trained and conditioned that you also reach climax with your partner in no time, which is of course totally counterproductive for you in 2021 and your love life, and is likely to bring more frustration than pleasure. But of course, it could also be that you ruin your appetite for your partner in your fantasy, because in your mind and through the porn, you are always pleasing different types of women. And yes, in real life, you only have the one partner, so try to reduce your porn consumption in order to enhance your sexual performance. Tip number 7, no stress. Each of us has less productive days. And it also happens that one is in a bad mood or simply not physically fit. And of course, this can happen to both men and women. Just as a man may not be able to achieve an erection, a woman can also experience not reaching the appropriate level of moisture. So men, relax. Your body doesn't always function the way you would like it to, but rather the way you handle it. This means to be a little mindful in how you treat your body, take good care of it, and simply try to avoid stress. Under stress, blood vessels naturally constrict, which means that circulation is not as efficient as it should be. This can particularly manifest in cases of erectile dysfunction. So look at how much you work, and if you have to work a lot, at what cost. Listen to the signals of your body, and also try to reduce stress in your life in general, because especially when you start experiencing erectile dysfunction, it is often a sign of what else may come. Erectile problems are often a precursor to various vascular diseases, diabetes, etc. So if you notice that something isn't quite right, please go to the urologist and have it checked out, because it is really possible to determine 4 to 5 years in advance if you have any heart problems, and this can be addressed accordingly before the disease actually breaks out. Tip number 8, nutrition. Don't you recognize the saying, you are what you eat? In the past, we could perhaps stuff anything into ourselves, but as we age, our bodies can no longer handle everything. Nicotine, alcohol, and heavy carbohydrates are naturally always particularly counterproductive. Too much meat can also sometimes have an impact. That's no longer the case. And just try to eat a bit lighter, perhaps not in such large quantities anymore. On one hand, you notice it in terms of weight, and on the other hand, you feel fitter. You can last longer, you have better stamina, and your problems might possibly be gone. Of course, you can also have your vitamin D levels checked. If you have private insurance, it is usually covered. If you are only a cash patient, you are allowed to have an amount of about approximately 30 euros are calculated, because studies have also shown that a significantly reduced vitamin D level can have effects on erection. So it costs you 30 euros, and you might know what it could be related to. Talk to your partner. It is important to be honest with your partner about your problem and not to feel ashamed. You are partners, so tell her that you are already actively looking for solutions and that you want her to be aware of it. However, you don't want her to constantly ask questions or show approval with likes, but simply to understand. And we women are, of course, happy to support, but sometimes we go a bit too far with our care. And I know from my own experience that it can be extremely annoying. So clearly and explicitly say what you want, and then we women can handle it better. So you are still a real man, even if you are currently experiencing temporary problems. For a real man has more qualities than just presenting his firmness, and does not let failures or fears unsettle him. And please don't tell yourself this nonsense that you are a sexual failure. Find a coach or go to a urologist and have your problems clarified. And very, very importantly, talk to your partner. Good pleasure, and see you in the next video.